Welcome back. Now, in the previous video, we created the menu. Now we have to solve this methods one by one. Let's solve the first one, which is adding a student into a file. Okay, add student and display students. All right. So to add a student, what you need to do is first you need to open the file uh, for writing, and then you can add the student. All right, so let's call define add underscore student, and gonna put this, and we need to open the file first. So open the file for writing. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll say with. Oh, so you can say the method I explained to you last week, which is with open, and here we can write the name of the file we want to open, which is students.txt. We still don't have this file, and I will say the file for, I will say W, uh, which is for writing. So what happens when you put W is that the file, as soon as you open, everything will be deleted and the cursor will be there. Okay, so be careful when you use this flag W. W plus means you can read and write into it, and R plus means you can read first and then write to it, so it won't delete the file first, but later it will put the cursor at the end, so you will be able to write on it. Okay, so you can also use something called seq with it. In our case, now we need the W, and then we say with open students W, then file colon, and then everything else is indented inside. Now what we want to do is we want to ask the user to give us the information of the student that they want to add, and the things we want to ask is print, or maybe we don't want to say even print, so we'll ask for the ID, and then we say input, or int input, and between curly two brackets we will say please enter the student ID. Now they enter the ID. Let's repeat 3 more times. They enter the name and they enter the student grade. Okay, so please enter the student name and please enter the student grade. So the name, we don't need to put int on it. This one we will put a float, because grades could be 19.8 or something like that. Okay, so grades can be fractional, but of course a name is a string, so we just leave it as input. So once we read this 3 information, now we need to go ahead and write it into the file, and we already have the file object here, so we say file, we'll say file.write, and we write the ID, and we can put ID, actually we can put string ID plus a new line, and I will duplicate this one, and for the grade will be the same, but in the middle I will also duplicate again this line, and I'll say file.write, and here now I will put the name. Alright, so this is it. This is, for example, for writing into the file this 3 line, okay, which is the ID, the name, and the grade. Alright, so now once you finish your method here, this is the menu that we had. This is our first method. Let's actually put our menu next to the main, and let's build all our methods above. Okay, so you have the add student. Let's go ahead and put the add student now here. Okay, so choice 1 will print add a new student, and then it will call that function which says add student. Okay, and now let's save this and try to test our application. by running it. Let's run. First let me clear this thing, and I'm gonna check if there are any errors in my app. First of all, there are no errors. Let's run it, and you can see here add, display, and so on. The only one we implemented right now is the add. So let me put one, and it says add a new student, and immediately what happened is it entered here. It's saying now, it's asking please enter your ID, because this method is being called. And why is that? Because I put the number 1, choice 1 became active, and now I am asking the user to enter their ID. So let's enter ID. We will use from 100 from 1000 to 2000 ID, so we'll say 1001 is the ID. The name of the student is Ali, and actually I forgot to name this as please enter the student grade. So basically what this is asking is now for the grade. Okay, so let's put the grade which is 89. Okay, so that's it. How do we know if everything is written? Here we will see a new file called student, and you will see 1001 Ali and 89. Okay, now let's put the number 8. We exit, and let's try to run our application again. And now let's watch the student file, what happens to it when we open again for write, because each time what we're doing is we're putting a W, which means if I put now again 1, you see the file, everything is gone. Okay, so when you are adding, you don't want this to happen, and the reason is we are using now W. Instead, what we want is to add another student to the file. So to avoid overwriting the file and removing everything, because everything disappeared, if you see, everything now is gone, and we are going to write everything from scratch. So what we should do instead is we need to change this flag, okay, from W to A, which means append. Alright, so let's try. Please enter the student ID 1001. Please enter the student name Abdullah, and please enter the student grade, let's say 98, and there you go. Now if you go back to the students file, let me close this, don't save, and you can see 1001 Abdullah and 98. Okay, so it is working. It's adding now a new student. However, now we need to change this flag. Let's exit this application by pressing 8. We need to change this flag from W to A, okay, which means append, and we will try to rerun our application again. Rerun, and there you go. Now let's do add again 1. Let's see the students, and you see now when I put ID 1002 and then Muhammad and student grade 99, you see it did not delete my previous record, but instead it appended. Okay, so that's exactly what it means when you open a file with an A. If it was W, it would have overwritten everything, so it would have deleted all my content and overwritten it. Okay, so that's the difference, the big difference between W and the A flag. The W flag will overwrite your file and bring the cursor to the top. The A flag moves the cursor below the last line and puts the cursor here, so whatever you write will be appended. Okay, so that's it. Now we have implemented our first menu item, which was adding a student. So this is done. In the next part, we will see how we can display all our students.